Here we go. Here we go. What's up, guys? It's late, 9 o'clock, Friday night, and I am done for the day. And I wasn't going to do a video today, but I just got off the phone with a friend of mine, Cody. And we brought up an old story, an old jail story, another jail story I'm going to tell you. We were laughing about this. I'm going to tell you how we came to this story, and then I'll tell you the story. But Cody gets a hold of me on Facebook and tags me in a post. Mariah Carey is singing a Def Leppard song called Bringing on the Heartache. Heartbreak, Bringing on the Heartbreak, Bringing on the Heartache, something like that. Great song by Def Leppard from back in the 80s, maybe. I don't know. She did cover. He was all happy about it. It was pretty cool. You know, for Mariah Carey, it was pretty hip to be doing a rock song like that. It sounded good. Her backup singers were fantastic. The guitarist was amazing. Mariah was whatever. She did her dog whistle thing, and that was cool. But he said, you got to check it out. At like 4 minutes and 3 seconds, she does the most amazing run. And she did a run. You know, a run is when a gospel, like a soul singer goes, you know, they go all the way down the register doing it. You know, Rihanna does it all the time. Beyonce does it. Everybody does it. Call it a run. And he thought it was amazing, so I listened to it. I heard it. I was like, whatever. I posted a response to his Facebook post that said, I've heard better runs in jail. And that was that. And he was laughing, called me. He called me. He's on tour with Peter Frampton right now, and he's in a hotel room in Nashville. He calls me and goes, dude, I was cracking up about that comment you left about I've heard better runs in jail. And he thought it was a joke. I said, no, it's not a joke. Like, I've really heard better runs in jail. When I was in jail, when I was 23, I was in a all-black gospel choir group, a gospel singing group, and the guys that were in my gospel group could do better runs than that. He was like, what? He said, dude, are you serious? I said, yes, it's a completely true story. He said, I can't believe it. He said, you're like the ultimate rock star. You have the craziest life and stories. And we just started laughing about it. And then I started thinking about the story, and I've never told anyone about this. I don't think I've ever told anyone about this. Maybe like 2 people in my whole life. But I'm going to tell it for you guys tonight, and then I'm going to go to bed. But here's the story. The year, I don't know what year it was. I was 23 years old, I think. Now let me give you some context. 23 years old. I'm living in Dallas, Texas. I moved to Dallas when I was 17 or 18. And by 23 or so, I had pretty much worn myself down, and I left pretty soon after that. The last thing I did in my Dallas career was go to that jail. I had to do a month for a DUI. I had gotten my second DUI. I could not stop drinking back then. I was a morbidly sad person at that age. Mainly around my childhood was kind of weird. We were pretty broke and had a strange family, very depressing, very poor, alcoholic father, abusive fights, like physical fights with my mom, a lot of crazy stuff going on, divorces, marriages, divorced again, fist fights, wrestling matches, guns getting pulled. It was crazy. So when my dad committed suicide, I was 15. And then if things were already bad, they got like way worse. And all of us boys, well, all of the kids, there were 5 of us at the time, 5 kids. And when we heard the news, we went from being kind of screwed up kids to being we just collectively all lost hope in life, in everything, and in everyone. And everything really went badly from then on. All of us older boys started drinking a lot, partying a lot. And got really dark. We all got really dark and dangerous and kind of weird. Things got crazy. But when I was 17, I left Oklahoma. I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I left with a girl that I met, and we moved to Dallas. I joined a couple bands, and I was trying to make it there. But I also could not stop drinking. I was like the darkest 19-year-old boy you've ever seen in your life. I was a cute kid. I was very soft-hearted and very kind, and I was full of love and all of that. But when I drank, it was like a switch went off, and I turned into an absolute demon from hell. Like if you can imagine Jim Morrison at his most craziest behavior, that's how I was every night when I got drunk. Just complete madness. When the flip switched, I went from nice kid to just violent, vulgar, crazy, lunatic, madman, Charles Manson mode, man. It was crazy. Very dangerous, and I'm lucky to have lived through it. But because not all of us did live through that. And I'll try to include that in the story. But so I was in Dallas playing in the bands, drinking out of control, and I ended up picking up 2 DUIs in 2 years. The first one I got a probation for like 6 months, but I couldn't stop drinking, guys. It was my only way of coping with life. But when I drank, it took away all my problems, but it caused a bunch of other problems. Does that make sense? So after I got off of probation for that first DUI, boom, I got another one. And things were just terrible. When I got this second one, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. And I had to go to jail. They told me, we can't give you another probation. You're going to go to jail for a month. I didn't have money for an attorney or anything like that. I was stone broke. I remember, I think the band, they were like giving me the money from the shows, and they didn't have any money either, but we were donating the band money to like my attorney's fees. It was terrible. But so I'm 23. All this is going wrong. I check myself into jail, and I'm just like, fuck, I have nothing. I have no money. I have nothing. I'm just in this place. And when you go to jail, this was like an old Ford car building plant, like a car manufacturing plant, but they turned it into a jail. It was full of like these isolated rooms. There'd be a hallway, and then it would open into a big giant room. And in each room, this sounds crazy, it's like out of a movie, but there were 4 cages in each corner of the room where they had the cells. So you'd walk down a dark hallway, open up this chamber, and there would be 4 cages in the room up against each corner. They were big, this place was huge, but each cell had probably 20, 25 people in it. So each room, big room, had maybe 80 to 100 people in it. And there was like 10, 15 of these rooms. It was a huge place. Terrifying for a 23-year-old kid, with, that weighs 130 pounds, blue eyes and big lips. I was terrified. So when I go into this place, you don't know what to expect. I have no friends. I don't know who I can trust. I've never been to jail. I'm like, am I going to get killed? Do I make a shiv? Is this going to be like the movies? But slowly, as the days go by, you start to realize, okay, this is different. Like I just need to find a way to eat. Make my bed, keep my area clean, and watch TV, and everything's probably going to be cool. There's a chance I'll get in a fight, but as long as I keep to myself, nothing bad was going to happen. And so a few days go by, and I meet this guy, African-American guy, older than me. I'm 23, he's probably 35, 38. To me, he's an older man. They were calling him Preacher. That was his jail name. I don't know what his name was, but everybody called him Preacher. Story about Preacher was he claimed he was an actual preacher at some church in Dallas that was up on a hill, big white church. He used to always explain it. And he had gotten into some sort of trouble. Who knows what he did, but he was in this jail with us. But he was kind of the ringleader in my area. Cool guy, and he kind of started talking to me slowly. He showed me the Bible, like he would bring the Bible out and read it to me. We'd read little passages together. He asked me my name, where I'm from. We just started talking. He seemed kind of cool, but he was shady. I could tell he was pretty shady, so I kept my eye on him pretty close. And he was shady. He was a hustler. Like that's what he did. He was really nice to the new people, and he would read you the Bible and make you feel good. And then he would slightly ask you for maybe next time you get commissary, which is like the store that in jail. He'd say, maybe you can get me a Snicker bar or a pencil, just something. Maybe since I'm being nice to you, you be nice to me. That's how he got by. He was a hustler. He used his relationships that he built to get Snicker bars and pencils and envelopes and stuff. So that was the Preacher. And a few days into it, I was assigned a job. You have to have a job when you're in this jail. You can't just lay around. And the job I got was in a freezer in the kitchen. They had these gigantic freezers the size of a house that you would drive forklifts and pallet jacks into, take out the frozen beans, meat, and vegetables, and then drive them to the kitchen, and they would thaw them out and serve them to the prisoners all throughout this big giant jail. And Preacher was also on the kitchen crew. So we started talking, and he had showed me how to lift weights in jail. Like you filled up trash bags with water and lifted them like weights. We'd do this thing where you would take playing cards, like a deck of cards, throw them on the ground, and then you would bend down and pick them up. It was like a squat workout. You had to do 52 squats pretty much. You're picking up a card every time. It was an intense workout. It was great. It was kind of a great workout. But we both had these jobs in the freezer, and he said, I had told him I was a singer and that I was in a band there in Dallas and that I had always been in a band. I was going to be a rock star, all this stuff, and I was a singer. He said, I actually have a gospel group that you could be in if you can really sing. We need a fourth guy or a fifth guy, whatever the number was. I said, really, what do you mean? Like outside of jail, or you have a band in jail? Well, he goes, no, in the jail, it's me and 3 other guys. We have a gospel group, and we need a 5th member that can sing harmonies. I said, well, I can sing harmonies to anything. I've been doing that my whole life. You put on any music, I can sing a harmony to it. If you sing any line, I could sing 10,000 different harmonies to it. That's one of my superpowers. He goes, okay. And he gave me a little quick audition there in the jail cell. He said, I'm going to sing a line so you can hear it. Then I'm going to sing it again. And the second time I sing it, I want you to sing a harmony. Just come up with something, anything you want. Let's just see what you've got. So he sang something like, on the river of Babylon, where we went down, like sang a line from a gospel tune. And then he said, okay, now I'm going to sing it back. You sing it with me. And I sang it with him, and I sang like a 5th harmony, and we did a line, and he was like, okay, you're actually going to be in. He's like, holy shit. He said, you've got a really black voice for a white guy. I said, well, that's what I've been told. I don't know, man. I don't know. That's just the voice I have. He goes, okay, you're in. So I'm like, okay, I'm in a gospel group in jail. This is going to be interesting. So what happened was, early in the morning, they came to get me, all of us, for the kitchen crew. They came to pick us up. Some officers would come down, unlock the cell, take you out, walk you down to another area where there was a big basketball court, like a gymnasium with a basketball court in it. And it had really high ceilings, like, with a basketball court, and there was a huge reverb in there. So when you walked in there, you clap your hands, and it was like big reverb. And I thought, oh, I know what they're doing. He said, this is where we perform. He said, every morning while we wait, because you wait there for this van to come pick you up that takes you to the kitchen where the freezers are. But it takes about an hour. You're in there for about an hour. So they would put on concerts in this gym, in this basketball court, in the mornings inside the jail for all of the kitchen workers that were waiting to go to the kitchen. There'd be like 20, 30 people in this room, and these 4 guys would stand up and sing gospel songs. 4 black dudes stand up, sing these gospel songs. I met all the other guys, and I was like, I'm the only white dude in this group, huh? And they were like, yeah, you're the only white dude that we've ever had in the group. We hope you can sing. And preacher said, no, I've been working with him. The kid can sing. He can sing his ass off. And so we practiced for about a split second and just hit that River of Babylon and a couple other songs that preacher had taught me. And it was, to tell you the truth, it's one of the most amazing musical experiences I ever have had in my life. Something about being in jail in the darkest period of your life, the only white kid in an all-black gospel group of men, grown men, inside a jail, in a basketball court, singing to a group of inmates in the morning. I remember I would just be overwhelmed with a feeling of like universal power. I don't know what it was, but it just felt so damn good. And these guys could sing their heads off. Back to the Mariah Carey run story, like she did a run. I said, I've heard better runs in jail. And then he said, I thought you were kidding. I said, no. These guys did runs. You have to remember, a run, I can't do a run. I'm way too white to do a run. But it's like when these guys go, blah, 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 their voice, and it just goes crazy, doing that Beyonce shit. They would do that upside down, backwards, sideways. It was incredible, incredible. They tried to teach me, and I got better at it. But over the years, I can't do it anymore. But it's something you just have to practice. But for a while, I was able to do it pretty well. I had a pretty sick run ability there for a minute, especially for a white rock and roll kid with tattoos. But in the mornings, we would sing these gospel tunes, man, and it was incredible. Me and these 4 other guys, we'd just sing that auditorium, and then we would go, the vans would come, pick us all up, drive us to this giant freezer where I got to operate a pallet jack because I didn't have a license to drive a forklift, obviously. Some of the guys in the jail were actually forklift drivers outside of the jail. They had the correct licenses, so they got to drive the forklifts. I got to push the pallet jack. The pallet jacks were cool. They were really powerful, and you push these buttons and they would move. But then we would sing in the freezers. We would sing on the breaks. We were always singing these gospel songs. So for the month that I was there, I was the only white member in an all-black gospel jail acapella singing group. We didn't have a name. We didn't need a name. It was so amazing and so special and so funny. And I had a real epiphany in that jail. And I used to write in my notebook. I read the entire Bible while I was in that jail because there was nothing to do. And preacher gave me a Bible, said, read this. I just read it. Whatever he said, I just did it. You know, when you're 22, 23, and a 35, 38-year-old man tells you to do something, you just do it. You know, as long as it's not something crazy. I mean, if he just said, eat my socks, I wouldn't have done that. But he said, you should read this Bible. Just read it from front to back. I said, okay. And I read most of the Bible there in my bed. And I had this big epiphany, and I wrote the word re-wake in my folder for the first time ever. And if you don't know me very well, you don't know what re-wake is. But re-wake was the first band, turned into being the name of the first band that I formed when I moved to Oklahoma. I started the band, and I already had the name in my notebook. Re-wake. I had just been writing it over and over, and it was about just starting over. When I got out of jail, I was going to go to Oklahoma, try to save my family and myself, start my whole life over, and try to just do it all over and re-wake myself. And so I wore that. Re-wake was my thing for like 8-9 years after I got out of jail and moved to Oklahoma. The band was together at least 8 years. But yeah, man, so that's the story of me. I don't know what happened to Preacher. I couldn't tell you. It's been so long. Like that was 23. It was almost 20 years ago. But who knows what he's up to now. Hopefully all of those guys are not currently incarcerated and they clean their lives up as I have. You know, I'm living proof that you can pick yourself up, clean yourself up, and it takes a long time, but you can put yourself back together again. And I hope that they did the same. So yeah, man, that's the story of the time that I was the only white kid in an all-black gospel singing group, a cappella singing group, inside the Dallas County Jail, maybe 1998, maybe 1997, I don't know. Long time ago. That's it, man. That's the story. And if you haven't seen, Google or YouTube search Mariah Carey doing a Def Leppard cover called Bringing on the Heartbreak or Bringing on the Heartache. Heartbreak, I can't remember. Search YouTube for that and you'll hear exactly what I'm talking about. At about 4 minutes and 2 seconds, she does her little weird whistle register thing and sings really high and does a little run, and that's what he was talking about. And that's when I responded, I've heard better runs in jail. Little did he know, it's a true story. So thank you, Cody, wherever you are. I guess you're in Nashville tonight. I hope the tour is going well. I hope you guys are surviving. I'll see you in August when you guys play here at the Greek or wherever you said that's going to be. And anyway, man, that's it, guys. Thanks for tuning in for story time. I hope everybody's doing well. It's almost 9:30. Half of you guys are probably asleep. I'll probably be asleep within the hour. And then we'll wake up tomorrow and we'll do it all again. So here's to staying out of jail. Here's to having an interesting life. And here's to accepting your past and moving on and making a better future. And thank you to the universe for my life and that I'm not in jail and I'm not screwed up as I used to be. Thank you, God, Buddha, Allah, whoever. Thank you. Anyway, that's it, guys. Hope everybody's doing good. Have a good night, and I will see you in the future.